Executives often tell me they want their management to take more risks, or be less risk averse, or have a greater tolerance for risk. There are many terms used in corporations today that express insight about uncertainty and risk that are meant to direct management decision making. These terms include risk tolerance, risk appetite, risk thresholds, risk preference, and many others. I'm going to clarify what executives should want from management when it comes to decision making in the face of risk and uncertainty. When I was a child, I enjoyed watching shows about wildlife, and the one I remember best was called Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. It was hosted by a zoologist named Marlin Perkins. I remember the images of a lioness hunting for her hungry cubs. I remember thinking that she would give up too easily when chasing after a herd of zebras. It seemed like she would take her foot off the gas pedal right at the critical moment, and the zebra herd would run off. But on the other hand, once she caught a zebra, I could not imagine her giving it up. She ferociously would protect her meal for the cubs once captured. Little did I know that the reasons for her behavior would be revealed to me much later in life, and that these reasons have a profound impact on all of our decision making. I would like you to consider two decisions, and please make this real for yourself. Please choose in both cases. What you choose is based solely on your personal preference. There's no right or wrong answer. For the first decision, which would you choose? A sure gain of $240, that is, I give you $240, or B, a 25% chance to gain $1,000 and a 75% chance to gain nothing. So B boils down to a 25% chance or a 1 in 4 chance to win $1,000. Which would you choose, A or B? Here's my second decision for you. For the second decision, which would you choose? C, a sure loss of $750, that is, you give me $750, or D, a 75% chance of losing $1,000 and a 25% chance of losing nothing. So in decision 1, choose A or B, and in decision 2, choose C or D. This thought experiment was proposed about 40 years ago to 150 participants by famed cognitive psychologists Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman. The findings were published in a paper entitled The Framing of Decisions and the Psychology of Choice. If you're like most individuals, for decision 1, you chose the risk-free option A, a sure gain of $240. In the Kahneman and Tversky experiment, 84% of the participants chose A over B. For decision 2, if you're like most individuals, you chose to gamble for the chance of losing nothing and chose option D, a 75% chance of losing $1,000 and a 25% chance of losing nothing. In the Kahneman and Tversky experiment, 87% of the participants chose D, the gamble, over the sure loss of $750, represented by option C. This is precisely the result Kahneman and Tversky expected. What is the conclusion drawn from this experiment that has been replicated so many times for humans and more recently demonstrated with experiments for other mammals? Before I answer that, let's look a little deeper into this experiment. Let's return to decision 1. For those of you who chose A, I'm going to redefine your choice for A. If I reduce the sure gain to $200, would you still choose A over B? If yes, if I reduce the sure gain to $180, would you still choose A over B? At this point, I'm just haggling with you to determine how far I need to drop the value of the sure bet to get to the point that you would be indifferent between choosing A or the uncertain bet B. This is all about your personal risk preference, and again, there is no right or wrong answer for you as an individual. Let's say if I drop the sure bet to $150 and you start feeling like A or B are equally preferred. Let's stop there. From now on, I will refer to A as the sure bet and B as the risky bet. Here is a simple decision tree representing your two choices and the associated values. The probability weighted values are simply the values multiplied by their probability of occurrence. I'm doing this so I can calculate the expected value for each of the two bets. The expected value for an option is the sum of the probability weighted values. The sure bet option A has only one outcome, and so the expected value of the sure bet is just the value of the bet, $150. For the risky bet, we simply add the two probability weighted values to get the expected value of the risky bet, which is $250. The expected value of the sure bet option A is $150, and the expected value of the risky bet option B is $250. Given you are indifferent between choosing the sure bet versus the risky bet, the difference between the two expected values is called the risk premium. The risk premium represents the amount of the expected value you are willing to forego to avoid the uncertainty in the bet. This is all about your personal risk preference for this particular pair of choices. Again, there is no right or wrong choice for you as an individual. Now let's go back to the original thought experiment and consider it from the perspective of expected value. Most individuals prefer the sure gain of $240 that has an expected value of $240 over the uncertain gain which has an expected value of $250. In the realm of gains, we tend to have an aversion to risk and uncertainty. We tend to be risk averse. However, in the realm of losses, things change. We tend to be willing to take on risk and uncertainty to avoid losses. I could have demonstrated this by a similar adjustment of numbers as we did for decision 1. And by doing so, we would find that for most of you, you would only accept a certain loss if I dialed the certain loss down in option C to something much less than $750, something like $600. In the realm of losses, we tend to pursue riskier options to avoid loss. That is, we tend to be risk-seeking. We can precisely define the terms risk-averse and risk-seeking with the concept of expected value. The question is, what is the relationship to expected value? For most individuals, we are risk-averse decision makers in the realm of net gains, and this implies that we perceive the value of a decision with uncertain positive outcomes as something less than its expected value. On the other hand, for most individuals, we become risk-seeking decision makers in the realm of net losses. This implies that we perceive the value of a decision with uncertain negative outcomes as something more than its expected value. The reason for this we now readily understand, and it stems from our innate aversion to loss that we share with all other mammals, just like the lioness hunting zebra for her hungry cubs. The lioness will risk less to gain a meal for her hungry cubs and risk more to prevent losing the meal once captured. Watch part 2 of this video series to explore the neurological reasons that drive our decision-making in the face of risk and uncertainty, and why the vast majority of decisions in a corporation should be based on a risk-neutral, unbiased risk preference. For more information, visit our website and pick up a copy of my latest book, Problem, Risk, and Opportunity: Enterprise Management.